So was this debate a huge mistake for Joe Biden and the Democrats, or was this their plan all along? For all you guys that watched the debate last night, you know that it was an absolute train wreck for Joe Biden. He got caught mumbling, losing his train of thought. He was pushing hoaxes that proven to be untrue. And now there's all these calls all of a sudden from all these liberal networks saying that maybe he should step down, maybe he's going to be replaced. All of a sudden, there's other candidates on the Democratic side that their odds of becoming president have skyrocketed. So, was this planned all along? Because it is weird to have a debate this soon. It is weird that it's all just a push at the same time. Let's dive into it. So first, let's just go over some of the stuff that happened in the debate. Now, this just pretty much sums up the whole debate here. I'm just gonna play this clip real quick.
We had the safe on the total initiative relative to what we're going to do with more Border Patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either. Look, we had the safest border in the history of our country. The border, all he had to do was leave it. All he had to do was leave it.
So that's something a lot of us always say, pretty much, is like, oh, we don't know what Biden says when he mumbles half the time. Biden probably doesn't know what Biden said half the time because, I mean, in reality, he definitely has signs of dementia. He might not have full-blown dementia yet, but the signs are definitely there. They're definitely hitting. They're in and out. He just doesn't know what's going on. It's honestly borderline elderly abuse what they're doing to this man. I understand before everything he was already a corrupt politician, but I mean, at the end of the day, this is representing our country. So this looks bad on all of us when someone like this is out there. Like, this is bad representation. Here's another video that pretty much sums it up really well on how Biden spoke.
Making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the COVID. With dealing with everything we have to do with. Look, if we finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump?
Well, he's right. He did beat Medicare. He beat it to death, and he's destroying Medicare because all of these people are coming in. They're putting them on Medicare. They're putting them on Social Security. They're going to destroy Social Security. This man is going to single-handedly destroy Social Security.
So that was pretty early on in the debate where he just straight lost his train of thought and then just finished the sentence. And what was weird about this is throughout most of the debate, the moderators didn't really interrupt at all. They kind of just let them go in because they didn't really use the full length of their time a lot. So that was one of the few times where the CNN moderator jumped in with like, oh, thank you, Mr. Biden, like kind of helping him out, saying, hey, we see you're struggling. We're just gonna stop you now, save you the stress. Like, and then it just seemed kind of odd, but you could tell he was like, I mean, on this big of a stage, it's one thing if he's doing it at like a private event, small showing that only people that really follow the news is gonna see. This is what everyone is watching. Everyone is seeing this. So if you didn't know Biden was struggling beforehand, you do now. And I don't understand how people out there could actually still be defending this. Like, it's sad. And Trump makes a good point. He is beating Medicaid and Medicare and Social Security into the ground because all those illegals are on all that. Not Social Security as much as the other two, but I mean, they get free health care right when they come over the border, what we're paying for. And everyone talks about, oh, Republicans want to cut it. Most Republicans don't ever mention cutting it. And it doesn't matter if it's even untouched because it's being abused. The money's not going to be there in 5 or 10 years. So there needs to be another solution. Here's another thing. Biden claims Border Patrol endorsed him. Is that true? Well, what's funny is after he made the claim, about 10 minutes later, the Border Patrol union tweeted, to be clear, we never have and never will endorse Biden. So they made sure that this didn't stick around long. And they never would. Why would they? Like, Biden basically makes it so that they can't do their job. And they don't support anything Biden's doing. I mean, they only do so much, right? Another hoax and I was actually talking to my fiance about this the other day when the Snopes came out, this article about Trump did not call white supremacists very fine people. I said, this doesn't matter. Even though Snopes finally did this after 7 years, I don't know what took him 7 years. The actual video of him and his speech has been on the internet the whole time. But for 7 years, they finally admitted it was a hoax. And I told my fiance it doesn't matter because the Democrats are still going to push it because they know they can get away with it. So here's Biden doing that.
People on both sides. What American president would ever say Nazis coming out of fields carrying torches, singing the same anti-Semitic bile, carrying swastikas were fine people? And this is the guy who says Hitler's done some good things. I'd like to know what they are. The good things Hitler's done, that's what he said. This guy has no sense of American democracy.
President Trump.
Jake, both of you know that story has been totally wiped out because when you see the sentence, it said 100% exoneration on that. So he just keeps it going. He says he ran because of Charlottesville. He didn't run because of Charlottesville. He ran because it was his last chance. He's not equipped to be president. You know it, and I know it. It's ridiculous. We have a debate.
So, yep, even Trump said, like, hey, this has been debunked all around. Like, everyone knows this. Snopes right here. And here's the actual full video for context. If none of you watching have actually seen the full video and think I'm just like being a Trump lover here, pretty clear here.
And you had some very bad people in that group. But you also had people that were very fine people on both sides. You had people in that group, excuse me, I saw the same pictures as you did. You had people in that group that were there to protest the taking down of, to them, a very, very important statue and the renaming of a park from Robert E. Lee to another name. And you had people, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally. But you had many people in that group other than neo-Nazis and white.
Stuff like this is proof that it really doesn't matter what Trump says because the media is always going to take it out of proportion and out of context. Because back in 2020, they were like, oh, when is he going to denounce white supremacy? When is he going to denounce it? After he already denounced it about 12 times at that point. But the media ignored that because they know most everyday people don't see that, and they push this narrative that he's a racist when he's not. And the media knows they can do that. And it works very well. This was a strange one. I'm just going to let this play so you guys can just tell me what you think about it.
Look, there's so many young women who have been, including a young woman who just was murdered, and he went to the funeral. The idea that she was murdered by an immigrant coming in. They talk about that, but here's the deal: there's a lot of young women are being raped by their in-laws, by their spouses, brothers and sisters, it's just ridiculous, and they can do nothing about it. And they try to arrest them when they cross state lines.
Thank you.
There have been many young women murdered by the same people he allows to come across our border. We have a border that's the most dangerous place anywhere in the world, considered the most dangerous place anywhere in the world. And he opened it up, and these killers are coming into our country, and they are raping and killing women.
So I think the argument Biden was trying to make is that there's everyday people here in America that do those same crimes that illegal immigrants do. And there are, and that absolutely needs to be addressed. And the way to address that is by these liberal cities actually keeping those people that do those things in prison, in jail, instead of releasing them same day like they do in New York and Chicago and San Francisco. So that would definitely help. But the big thing with this is when it comes to crime from Americans and crime from illegal immigrants is the illegal immigrant crime is 100% preventable because they shouldn't be here in the country to begin with. They should have never been here. So if you have an illegal alien killing someone that is from here, that shouldn't have happened because that illegal alien shouldn't have been here. That's the whole argument here. Yes, there are crimes that happen with Americans. Yes, but that is harder to prevent because they have a right to be here. Illegal immigrants do not have a right to be here. And that's just, I don't understand what's so hard for them to understand that. This one is the whole suckers and losers hoax, which is never proven. It was like, what, 2 people that said he said it, and then his general, after Trump fired him, said he said it, but then there was like 20 people that said he didn't. So this was just nonsense. So let me play this.
You have the mic.
Every single thing he said is a lie. Every single one. For example, veterans are a hell of a lot better off since I passed the PACT Act. 1 million of them now have insurance, and their families have it. Their families have it because what happened, whether it was Agent Orange or burn pits, they're all being covered now. And his group opposed that. We're also in a situation where we have great respect for veterans. My son spent a year in Iraq, living next to one of those burn pits, came back with stage 4 glioblastoma. I was recently in France for D-Day, and I spoke all about those heroes that died. I went to the World War I cemetery he refused to go to. He was standing with his 4-star general, and he told me, he said, I don't want to go in there because they're a bunch of losers and suckers. My son was not a loser, was not a sucker. You're the sucker. You're the loser.
President Trump?
First of all, that was a made-up quote, suckers and losers. They made it up. It was in a third-rate magazine that's failing, like many of these magazines. He made that up. He put it in commercials. We've notified him. We had 19 people that said I didn't say it. And think of this. Who would say I'm at a cemetery or I'm talking about our veterans? Because nobody's taking better care. I'm so glad this came up, and he brought it up. There's nobody that's taken better care of our soldiers than I have. To think that I would, in front of generals and others, say suckers and losers. We have 19 people that said it was never said by me. It was made up by him, just like Russia was made up, just like the 51 intelligence agents are made up, just like the new thing with the 16 economists are talking. It's the same thing. 51 intelligence agents said that the laptop was Russia disinformation. It wasn't. That came from his son, Hunter.
So yeah, this whole thing with the suckers and losers thing, in reality, like, there's no video of it, so it's never going to be proven. So liberals will probably push this to the end of time, probably until Trump's dead. But if you just think about this logically, why would anybody in their right mind, especially politicians who, for the most part, try to, I guess, what you say, like, watch what they say when they know they're in the public eye or when they know people are around, like behind closed doors with his family, who knows what he says. But when you're out in public like that, among military generals, and you're going to make that comment, there is no one in their right mind that would say that. That is so disrespectful. And that just, there's just no way especially Trump. Trump is always talking about the veterans, always talking about the military, how great the military is. Under Biden, the military enlistment's gone down 25%. So who does the military really respect more? It's so stupid. They're going to push this to the end of time. Let's see this. Oh, by the way, a lot of these are from Vince. He was posting all these throughout the debate. So shout out to Vince. Thank you. Let's play this one.
They're going to try again if they win. You find ourselves in a position where the idea that we're not doing anything, we put more police on the street than any administration has. He wants to cut the cops. We're providing for equity and making sure people have a shot to make it. There's a lot going on, but in inflation, he caused it by his tremendous malfeasance in the way he handled the pandemic.
Thank you. Another persistent challenge is...
Now, what gets me about this is he said that Trump wants to cut the police. What Republican wants to cut the police? The whole Democratic Party was all for it to fund the police in 2020. They think like we're that stupid and forget. There's still Democrat politicians pushing for defund the police. And you're going to sit there and say Trump is the one that wants to defund them? That's insane. Okay, so this right here is Biden's closing statement. But a lot of people have been saying, oh, he started off slow but finished strong. So this, when you hear that, this is what they mean by he finished strong.
For the ability for us to be able to negotiate drug prices with the big pharma companies. Well, guess what? We got it down to $35 for insulin instead of $400. No more than $2,000 for every senior, no matter how much prescription they need. You know what that did? That reduced the federal debt by $160 billion over 10 years because the government doesn't have to pay the exorbitant prices. I'm going to make that available to every senior all along, it's happening now, and everybody in America. He wants to get rid of that. I'm going to make sure that we have child care. We're going to significantly increase the credits people have for child care. I'm going to make sure we do something about what we're doing on lead pipes and all the things that are causing health problems for people across the country. We're going to continue to fight to bring down inflation and give people a break.
So he basically said a whole lot and nothing there. And he's doing this thing where he's sitting there and he's like staring into the abyss, like he's got no soul. And he's struggling to speak. I don't understand how anybody can be behind this, but like he's clearly just not there. This is dementia. This is like zoned out. This is probably him drugged up too. He literally spent a week at Camp David hiding from the public to prepare for this. And I don't think this turned out any way that his people wanted it to turn out. Unless it was planned. Unless they planned it. You never know. Because the Democrats are sneaky. You know? So that's pretty much the highlights from the debate. Oh, there's one more video too. Oh, this is just... This is crazy. So we all know Joe Biden's treated like a child a lot of times, including by his own wife. So let's just look at the way Jill Biden talks to him here.
Joe, you did such a great job. You answered every question. You knew all the facts. And let me ask the crowd, what did Trump do?
What? She said, Joe, you did such a good job. You answered every question. That's something you would tell like someone in kindergarten, like a 5-year-old. And he's just sitting there like, oh my God, that is so embarrassing. To be the president of the United States and being talked to like that. That is insane. So naturally, because even liberals could catch on to the fact that Joe Biden did not perform well. Now, people are saying there's going to be calls to replace Biden tomorrow, which, if you remember, even a couple of weeks ago, people are like, oh, Biden's mentally sharper than ever. Biden's so smart. Now, they don't have that same tune.
And there is a conversation happening inside Biden's circle, and certainly a much more frank conversation happening inside the Democratic coalition. And I think there will be stories of a lot of concern about the performance tonight. And I think when you say conversations happening, what do you mean? I think people are talking. I think the conversations range from whether he should be in this race tomorrow morning to what was wrong with him. I mean, he has a cold.
Yeah, what was wrong with him? He has a cold. That's another thing, too, I got later on in this video. But yeah, Democrats definitely are in full panic mode because he did bad. They are replacing Biden verified. Biden is so cooked. He did so bad. And the calls to replace, there is a certain Republican candidate who called this And I think this was the first Republican debate, and his name's Vivek Ramaswamy. Let's give this a play because he nailed this here.
I also want to close with one message to the Democrat Party. End this farce that Joe Biden is going to be your nominee. We know he's not even the president of the United States. He's a puppet for the managerial class. So have the guts to step up and be honest about who you're actually going to put up so we can have an honest debate. Biden should step aside, end his candidacy now so we can see whether it's Newsom or Michelle Obama or whoever else.
All right,
just
Mr.
tell us the
Ramaswamy,
truth so we can have an
your
honest
time is
debate.
up.
And this was back in probably what, September, October. He was way ahead of the game. Now, there are excuses being made for why Biden didn't perform good. Biden struggles early in presidential debate with hoarse voice. Personally, his voice didn't sound much different to me. He just sounds like an old man when he speaks. Like that's how old men sound. They struggle to talk. Especially if they're up there for an hour and a half straight talking, they're gonna struggle. I didn't think anything of that. In the first moments of the debate Thursday, President Biden stumbled as he flubbed some early lines as his voice appeared ready to give out, with sources said he was suffering from a cold. Of course he was. And what's funny is, where is it at? Here we go. 45 minutes into the debate, sources familiar with Mr. Biden's debate preparations said he has had a cold for the past few days. One, who gets a cold in the middle of summer? Two, why would they wait 45 minutes into the debate to say this? Unless they're trying to make an excuse for why he's not performing well. Do you think if Biden was doing good at the debate, they would have even mentioned this? No, they wouldn't have. They're making excuses for him. They're trying to cover up the fact that he did bad. His campaign is, anyway. It seems like other people are kind of ready to give up on him. So The Hill came out with this article. Thought I had it open. Winners and losers from the Biden-Trump debate. Now, this is showing how the mainstream media is starting to get behind this whole swap thing, too. So the first one they have is former President Trump. But it wasn't because Trump did good. Trump won because Biden lost. Basically saying that Trump won because Biden was just so bad, right? And I think Trump did good no matter what. Trump is a hard debater because Trump is a tough dude. But the second one here, alternative Democratic nominees. They're already putting it to play that someone else might be swapped in for Joe Biden. Thursday was a good night for Democrat figures such as Gavin Newsom, who was a big presence in the spin room here, and Gretchen Whitmer. Vice President Harris, who braved a tough interview with Anderson Cooper soon after the debate, is another possibility, though she has her own weaknesses. Former First Lady Michelle Obama is a dream candidate for many Democrats, but the fantasy is unlikely to become reality. So they're all putting it in there, saying that he's probably going to get swapped, which I would not put it past them. They'll probably say in a couple months that he's not mentally fit, but the thing is they don't want Kamala in there. So they got to figure out a way to swap her out. Because Kamala would not be any better at all. And then you got the last winner, CNN, which I said this from the start. I actually had a poll on my YouTube channel. Yeah, my YouTube channel about this, saying who's going to win this debate. And it was between Trump, Biden, and CNN. And CNN, actually, after 465 votes, CNN got more votes than Biden. This shows CNN, and CNN knows what they're doing. People are like, oh, why would you give like Trump a platform? This is the only way CNN makes money, is if Trump is a topic of conversation, if they are able to make everything about Trump. So CNN knows what they're doing. They have mixed Jake Tapper and Dana Bash, the moderators. People are saying, oh, they didn't fact check them enough. Like, moderators aren't supposed to be like attacking each candidate over. I always think moderators more like letting them talk and then maybe question them here and there, but question both fairly. But let them talk. You're not supposed to like, no, you didn't do that. No, you didn't do that. Like just let them talk. Losers, Joe Biden. So, yep, he just didn't do good. He was horrible. And then what's interesting is SCNR, which is Timcast news site, had this. New York Times runs seemingly pre-written op-ed calling for Biden to drop out presidential race. The URL indicates that the article was at least partially pre-written and loaded up on June 25th, which would have been 2 days before the debate. And they have a picture of that right here. And the New York Times, huge liberal news media. And they're already calling for him to be replaced. And you see Gavin Newsom smiling there like he's happy what happened. And he should be, because look, this was, as of last night, I think it went down maybe like 2 points down on Newsom. But Newsom went up 11 points. And this is a predicted thing. It's like a website where people kind of like bet on who they think is going to be president, which I think is more legit than like these companies predicting it themselves, because this is people putting their actual money into it. It's kind of like Vegas odds. Vegas are always like really close in their odds because people are putting their actual money into it. So I think it makes it more real. Joe Biden went down by 9 points. Gavin Newsom went up by 11. Kamala went up by 3. So, yeah, Gavin Newsom would stand to win out of all this, right? And that'd be why he's smiling. And you can see the media already giving up on Joe Biden here. Right? So the people, like I said earlier in the video, this was 9 days ago. NBC News, misleading GOP videos of Biden are going viral. The fact checks have trouble keeping up. So they're pushing this thing that Republicans were messing with videos and clipping them bad just to say, oh, Biden's incompetent, right? And that he's old, that he can't do it anymore. But the clips, none of them were clipped. They weren't out of context. They just said they were. And even Karine Jean-Pierre, the press secretary, said, oh, yeah, those are deep fakes. Don't listen to them. Like, they're literally gaslighting the whole country. And now, babbling in horse Biden's debate performance sends Democrats into panic. So now, they're just fully just embracing it. They're fully saying, like, oh, yeah, he don't sound good. After 9 days ago, defending it. But I will say, I meant to have this up already. There is one person that thinks Joe Biden did a good job, and that's everyone's favorite TikToker, Harry Sisson. He is the only true person I have seen that was hyping up Joe Biden's performance. Look right here. Biden won the debate easily. He laid out a vision, a goal, a future that Americans can get behind. Trump was angry, conspiratorial, and deluded. The debate told us nothing new. It just further proved that Biden is the right choice. And of course, he gets roasted. Like, you're like one of 3 people who think Biden won the debate. If Biden won, why is the CNN headline Dem concerned about Biden's performance? Like, ratio incoming, like, yeah, you can only defend this so much. And I guess Harry didn't catch the memo that they were turning on Biden now. Like, all these MAGA Republicans who are making fun of, this one's a good one too. So all these MAGA Republicans who are making fun of President Biden for having a stutter are disgusting. How dare you make fun of a speech impediment? It's a slap in the face of millions of Americans who are either have one or know someone who has one. Have some respect. So he might have some kind of speech impediment. I don't know. But if you just watch videos of him now and watch videos of him back in 2020 or in 2018, 2016, when he was the VP, you could see the huge difference in his speaking. His brain can't keep up with what he wants to say anymore. So that's what causes him to stutter. He didn't seem to have a speech impediment 10 years ago. So yeah, and then he's pushing this, oh, he had a cold narrative too, blah, blah. So yeah, he's the only person on the planet that thinks Joe Biden did good. Yeah, so there's that. So the debate, all in all, I think Trump definitely, Trump did good. I think there's still a few things Trump could have done better on. There was a few questions he did, like the child care question he didn't ask. Another question, it took him being asked like 3 times for him to finally answer it. I think Trump gets a little too caught up when Biden will say something about him, and then Trump feels like he needs a rebuttal, even though there's not a chance to rebuttal. Which is why I don't like all this mic muting and stuff, because I think they should be able to go back and forth. So, but I do think Trump won pretty easily. I think most of us could have predicted this. Anybody that actually follows news. Biden, I don't see, if they keep Biden as the nominee, I don't see how the Democrats win this election. I truly don't. Like, I just don't see it. They have to replace him with probably Gavin Newsom, Obama, something. Because it's just not going to end well for them. And we know that the Democrats, their main focus is just staying in power. And they're going to do what they can to do that. Because they're terrified of Trump. Because Trump wants to change up the corrupt government. But let me know what you guys think in the comment. It was definitely an entertaining debate, to say the least. A lot of funny moments, a lot of savage moments. And I personally enjoyed it. Make sure you like and subscribe. Follow all my channels down below. And I'll see you guys next time.